Hey, do you remember in that rocket launch video from Venati, Alaska, when I said, is that an old Chevy Luv? It's gone. It's not recoverable anymore, but I like these things. I would like to have one of those. Well, this is my new 1979 Chevy Luv. And this is not Alaska, if you couldn't tell. This is Arkansas. I bought this to be my Arkansas vehicle when I'm in-state visiting friends and family. I just bought this 2 days ago. I wasn't planning to buy a car on this trip, but I saw it sitting on a used car lot and went and asked about it and ended up taking it home. Let's take a look at it. So the basics, this is a 1979 model four-wheel drive Chevy Luv. This is the first year of four-wheel drive from what I can see. There was a not really a factory option. You couldn't get it from the factory, but there was a dealer installed aftermarket option to put a solid front axle and have basically two solid axle four-wheel drive Luv. This is not one of those. This is the factory four-wheel drive. So it's solid axle in the rear, but it's IFS in the front. It's selectable, so you have rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and I think it has a low range. I'm not entirely sure. I really don't know much about these trucks. Nothing like my knowledge level on classic Subarus, so I'm learning as we go. This is really an Isuzu pickup that was just marketed as a Chevy in the States. In foreign markets, it was known as the Isuzu Faster. Has a 1.8 liter, I think, four-cylinder engine. They're known to be very reliable and long-running. This one is making noises. I don't really know how long it's been running or how much longer it's going to run. I have high hopes though. It's reading 62,000 on the odometer right now, but it's a 5-digit odometer, so we can't really trust that. That could be 162 or even 262 would be believable for one of these. You can see it has pretty large all-terrain tires. These are 30-inch tires. They might be a little bit large for this truck, just in the sense of having enough power to push the tires. But they're working so far, just driving around. They do rub if I get it like at really full lock, but normal driving they don't rub. And this thing is really slower than I expected, really. It has trouble pulling up hills at more than like 40 miles per hour. For a point of reference, my 1977 Subaru Banana Wagon should have roughly the same power as this and roughly the same weight, but it is quite a bit peppier feeling when you drive it around. There's a few things that I can think of that may be responsible for that. One is possibly just the large tires. That's a lot of inertia for the engine to overcome as it's driving. Another is maybe that the engine just needs a really good tune-up. Maybe the tune is in kind of a mess, and if that's what it is, then I can probably fix that pretty easily. And then there's also the possibility that the engine is just worn out and is not making the power that it should. I sort of bought this, the risk assessment in my mind when I bought this was that the engine's simple enough that if it does need a full rebuild, I can probably just do that in the backyard. So hopefully we won't come to that, but if we do, then it's not the end of the world. Let's take a closer look in this thing. Let me show you some more of the features. By the way, if you're curious where we're at right now, these are the Cascades on Shoal Creek on Spring Lake Road. But once upon a time, there was no bridge, and this was just the road right here. You just passed across here whenever the water was low enough to not wash you off the falls. All right, it'll be a little easier for me to show you the truck now that we're not literally parked in a creek. I just pulled across the road here. This is a little swimming hole. I don't know if this has an official name or if this is even an official like Forest Service spot. But people like to swim here in the summer right down on the creek there. Nobody's swimming today because it's 45 degrees. So let's take a look at this truck. It does have some auxiliary lights on the front, and some past owner has put a Mack truck symbol up there. Should I keep that or should I get rid of it? I wouldn't have put it on there myself, but I don't know. Should I get rid of it or should I keep it? They also obviously gave it this black and yellow paint job. I believe the original color was yellow, and you can see that original faded yellow like here. It doesn't really match this stuff, and you can see it here in the bed. The bed is actually bigger than I expected. I think this is bigger than my brat bed by a good amount. I've got my tripod back there while I'm just running around filming things. Here's a rear view. We can peek under. Here's the diff. No spare tire. Leaf springs. We've got the axle over the springs right now. So, question. Is this truck lifted or is this the stock Luv height? I don't actually know. This might just be the stock 4x4 Luv height with a little extra height from the large tires. Take a look at the passenger side. We've got a CB radio antenna here. There are some aftermarket things going on with this truck. Stuff that I am still discovering as I go. And I don't think the seller, the person who sold it to me, was even aware of. Starters, let's look inside. So what I found online said that these base models have a bench seat, and then there's an upgraded interior that has bucket seats and a 3-spoke steering wheel. Clearly I have bucket seats, but only a 2-spoke wheel. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if the seats could have been had as an individual option, or if maybe somebody just swapped these seats in. Here's our dash. We do have an oil pressure gauge here, electric. And then this is a little add-on switch someone added that turns on the driving lights. And this is the horn. Step in, we've got some nasty old floor mats that I'll probably replace. But you can see they've actually been chopped in half because whatever they originally came out of apparently had a much bigger floor pan than this truck did. This center console, I'm sure, is just a generic console from like AutoZone or something, and it's just got a sheet metal screw holding it in place. But I'll keep it because it's pretty convenient. It's got 2 cup holders here. We got skull shift knobs, and this one's it's not even the right thread. It just slides on and off. Or maybe the threads are stripped, I don't know. And then the 4-wheel drive selector lever is also a skull shift knob. This thing down here is aftermarket. This is like a 3-way 12V outlet with a switch to turn it on and off here. Oh, I just noticed that works even when the key is off. So that's not wired up to accessory or to ignition power. That's just like straight battery or something. Maybe I want to change that. This is the climate controls. I can't tell, is there supposed to be a way to turn the fan off? I don't see a switch anywhere to turn the fan off. There's only low and high. I asked because the heater goes from hot to cold, but it doesn't seem to do anything. It's still blowing hot air on my feet even when I have it set to full cold. That probably means a problem with the blend door. It's fine right now because it's winter, but that's going to be an issue in summer. More than likely what I'm going to do, instead of trying to mess with figuring out why I guess I'll look and see if I can see anything simple with the blend door, but the simplest thing to do is probably just going to be to put a switch on it so I can turn the fan off when I don't want it to blow on my feet. This does not pull over to vent. There's something stopping that from moving. So it's just defrost, or I guess the edge of this range here. The one item that we do have plugged in here is some previous owner has decided that a CB radio is more important than any sort of a music player. You know what? I'm not even mad about that. I kind of like it. Here's my mic. We definitely want to have something in here that can play music too. So I might do like a headless Bluetooth sound system, or maybe in the short term I'll just put a Bluetooth speaker in here that I can connect to with my phone. Instrument cluster, little round glove box came with fuses. Maybe there's fuse problems. The door panels look pretty good with these fabric inserts. It could stand just a big cleaning everything in here. The visors are gone. These are the posts they're supposed to be stuck to on both sides, but no visor. I don't know if I can find something or fabricate something for that. Or maybe just leave it. Visors aren't really that important, are they? So this is a front hinged hood. Opens like this. We've got a Pringles can working as a coolant overflow tank. I can't laugh about that too much because I ran a plastic water bottle in my Brat for a long time doing the same job. Here's our Isuzu engine, and this engine has significant oil leaks. So one of the first things I'm going to want to do with it is get a full gasket and seal kit and try to seal it up. If you crawl underneath, you can tell that it's leaking from the front of the engine, and that's going to be either the front of the oil pan gasket or possibly the front main seal on the crankshaft. And then up here, we're thinking possibly the valve cover gasket. I don't know how it's getting on top here. Is that blowing out of here? That might indicate that it's pressurizing the crankcase. So I don't know if there is a PCV valve on these things. If there is, it might be stuck or clogged. I'm gonna have to do more research about these engines. Move around to the other side, and this is an aftermarket carburetor. Let me pop this air cleaner off. I didn't even catch this when I was buying the car. I only caught this later when I came over to check out the carburetor and see if it was dirty and needed like new O-rings and cleaned out. And it's like almost perfectly clean. It's pretty new. I think this is one of the Weber 3236s. That would be the same carburetor that I'm running in my 1977 Subaru Banana Wagon. There should be an identification stamped on it somewhere, but I just don't see it. It's probably just buried where I can't see from up here. But I'm almost positive this is a Weber. So that's good news. New carburetor, aftermarket double barrel. The stock carburetor is a single barrel. Barrel is just referring to these things. If we lean down underneath, it looks like it does have the factory skid plate. I actually didn't know that until just this moment. It's one of the things I wanted to check, but I forgot to check till now. I don't want to lay on the ground here because it's muddy, so see if I can stick the camera under far enough for you to see the oil seepage on the bottom. When I checked this out in the used car parking lot, when I checked this out in the parking lot when I was going to buy it, there was actually drips coming from the drain plug there, but I don't think it's leaking from the drain plug. I think that was stuff that's coming off the front of the engine and was blowing back. Definitely going to need some addressing on the oil leaks. The other actual concern I have is how loose the steering is. Is this normal? I'm not turning the wheels at all right now. This is how much play there is in the steering. Any Luv owners out there, tell me what up with that. I did a little reading online, and apparently there is an adjustment. I don't know which one it is, but somewhere up here on this box, there's an adjustment and lock to try to take the play out of that. So I'm going to try that and see if that straightens things out a bit. The other issue with that is there's a lot of bump steer, which means when one of the front tires hits a bump, it yanks the whole wheel one way or the other. Sort of scary at highway speed. I've driven this about 100 miles on the highway right now, and you get used to it pretty quickly, but I don't want to drive too fast on a bumpy road. And then the other thing about that is I'm going to have to be mindful not to have my thumbs inside the wheel when I'm off-roading or on rough terrain, because if I'm, say, like this, and the bump steer just yanks it real hard like that, that could actually injure my thumb. So we only want to do this. But yeah, that's my Chevy Luv. The idea for this car is I'll have a vehicle here for just basic transportation around town when I come down to visit. And we can also use it just to get out and explore some back roads, some places that I would like to be able to show on video. And with that in mind, let's see if we can just find somewhere quick to get into today. So this little area here is a little campsite next to a pond, sort of a spur off of the Huckleberry Mountain Horse Trail. This is actually a lot nicer. I probably haven't been here in like 10 years, but it's a lot nicer than it was the last time I was here. It wasn't cleared like this. Here's the pond. So what I'm wondering is there's a little trail out there. It's only like half a mile long. It goes to a place called Buzzard's Rock. I wonder if we can actually drive this thing out to Buzzard's Rock. That trail, from what I remember, is too tight for a modern, like, mid-sized truck, but it's an ATV trail and people drive side-by-sides out there, so it's wide enough for those. Therefore, it might be wide enough for this little guy. Let's probe a little and see what we find. You know what I might do? I'm gonna switch it to 4-wheel drive. This is the first time I've ever done this. We're getting it on video. Is that in? Seems to be. We do have locking front hubs, by the way, but they are not locked right now. I'm not sure if the rear end, it's not a locker. I'm not sure if it's open or if it's an LSD of some sort. I should do a little bit more research and figure out what's going on with these trucks. Sort of went into the purchase not really knowing a whole lot about them because I wasn't expecting to find one and buy one. Oh, our engine just died. That's interesting. What up with this? Oh my god. What is this shift pattern? There's a whole nother notch over here. So there's something there and there and there. I have no idea. No idea. I'm gonna cut the video for a second until I figure out what's going on here. Well, bad news, I guess. I can't seem to figure out why it's not starting. I sort of gone through the checklist. It is getting spark. I pulled the spark plug wire off and checked it while cranking, and it sparks. It cranks just fine. It's getting fuel. I looked down the carburetor while pulling the throttle plate, and you can see it squirting fuel in there. But it cranks really fast. Let me show you. Let me just show you. Okay, take a listen. See, it sounds like there's no compression. My best guess at the moment, because it is spinning the engine, I guess I checked that. When I had the hood open, I would crank it and look, and you could see the fan on the front turning, which means the crankshaft is turning. But the long story short is I have a AAA membership, and I might as well get my money's worth, so I just submitted a request for a tow truck to come bring me back to town. And thankfully, we didn't make it very far down this trail. We're just right here, so I think a tow truck can still reach me right here. So the app says it's going to be 59 minutes. I think maybe the app just makes up a number to make you feel better. I guess I'm just going to have to sit around until the tow truck shows up. Well, this is the spot we were trying to drive down to. This is where that trail led to. I decided to just go ahead and walk down here while we're waiting for tow truck. The AAA app claims we're going to be waiting for an hour. I'm skeptical. I think it's going to be longer than that. But plenty of time to take a little 1 mile walk. We'll be back up in 20 minutes. So this spot is called Buzzard's Rock, or maybe some people call it Buzzard's Roost. I've always heard it called Buzzard's Rock. Comes out to this little point, and we should have a good view out over the, that's the Arkansas River Valley to the north here. A little bit of ice. Here we go. I just heard something fall. Probably some ice dropping off the cliff somewhere. Arkansas River Valley. There's some sort of mining thing down there. I don't recognize that. It's Lake Dardanelle off that way. Oh no, that might be... I don't know if you can even see this in the camera, but way out that way, it looks like it might be Subiaco Abbey. So Paris would be further that way. Oh yeah, there's Short Mountain out there. This is basically the northern edge of the Ouachitas. And then the Arkansas River Valley here separates the Ouachita Mountains here from the Ozark Plateau to the north. It's a cool little spot. You won't probably find it marked in any maps or anything. I don't think it's on all trails, but this is something that ATV riders in the area know about, like to stop at for lunch and stuff. I'm gonna walk back up to the truck, or up to the parking lot, and wait for the tow truck.
Sent today at 3:46 p.m. Hello, this is AAA. This call may be monitored or recorded.
Okay, just wanted to touch base and let you know we have your tow call here. There is a slight delay. I'm still looking for somebody to come out, but as soon as I have any kind of update for you, I'll give you a call right back. Thank you.
End of message.
Yeah, okay, they're not gonna be here in an hour. I can't think of anything else I can try here. It really seems like the problem is just that we're not getting correct valve timing, which probably means we've possibly jumped timing if the timing chain was loose, or just broke the timing chain. Those are slightly worrisome because that could lead to the possibility of bending valves. So maybe I jinxed myself earlier when I said I could do a full rebuild on this thing if I wanted to, but I hope to avoid it. Maybe it's for the better though, because this thing was so low power, it was probably worn out to begin with. So what I mean when I say I think we're not getting compression due to timing, there's a crankshaft which controls the up-down motion of the pistons, and a camshaft which controls the opening and closing of the valves. And usually there's a belt or a chain, I think with this vehicle it's a chain, that ties those two things together, so that makes sure the valves are opening and closing at the right times to be in time with the crankshaft and the pistons. And if you mess up that timing, which could happen if the chain was loose and it like jumped a tooth on the sprocket, I guess it could happen if you broke the chain entirely, but I don't think that's what's happening, because I think we would have heard more, like surely there would be a loose chain flying around if that were the case, right? We would have flung a chain somewhere and we would have heard that. So maybe we just jumped a tooth or two. But that would mean that the valves are not closed during the compression cycle of the engine, and we wouldn't be able to get the fuel compression that we need to fire the engine. That's what it feels like's happening to me. It's just cranking so fast, it feels like it's not resisting anything. At least I brought snacks, so we can have snacks while we wait. All right, so a few guys and side-by-sides drove by, and I got them to give me a tow back up here to the parking lot, so it'll be a lot easier for the tow truck to pick me up. Tow truck shouldn't have any problems getting in here. He might have had problems getting back to where we were. I wasn't gonna tell him about that until he got here, so he'd be less likely to say no. But I did talk to the tow truck driver about 20 minutes ago, and he said he was on his way. So I think he was probably about 30 minutes out at that time, so he should be here sometime in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, I don't know. Depends on how fast he drives. Tow truck is here.
Damn it.
1812, 612.
Well, I sure appreciate these coveralls you gave. You missed several wrecks in the past couple days, Pop.
Do what?
Missed several wrecks past couple days. Stuck up there. I've been locked over the party just locked on the corner. Oh, no, I'm looking for a corner on Bayless Road. Yeah,
you can keep going. Perfect.